Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I am Coach Sherry. I'm in my vehicle, so this is Car Chat and all that. I don't have my selfie stick. I left it in my other bag. What? So I am trying to hold my phone in my hand. Just bear with me. I hope everyone is doing well. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. And I was just thinking of so many things that I want to talk about, and I had to calm myself down and was just like, listen, Sherry, this is not the last video. It's not one and done. There's many days ahead that you can share whatever else is on your mind. Just pick one thing and stay on target, stay on track. So this past weekend was tremendous. It was a lot of moving pieces, and I had to just step aside and just say what I could do and what I couldn't do. And listen, when you can do that, you will have so much more peace. No, you're not going to satisfy everyone. Unfortunately, you won't be able to do everything, but you will have peace. And that's what I had this weekend. You know, I had so many invitations to go to different places out of town, out of state, and I wanted to be at all those things, but I just couldn't. So I did find myself in Virginia on Friday, spent that day with my father and one of my brothers. It was a good time. Didn't get to do the business that I initially was there for, but it's okay. You know, it was quality time with my dad and my brother. And Saturday, my daughter, my center child, she had a community event at a park. It was a community cookout, which I thought was so dynamic. At 24, I don't think I would have been throwing a community event. And it was a school supply drive as well. So people that came bought school supplies that she's going to donate to a Title I middle school in Charlotte. And I just am so proud of her. She is a realtor dynamic. So if you are thinking about moving to the Carolinas, to Charlotte in particular, or even the surrounding areas, you know, let me know and I can connect you with her because she's phenomenal. But, you know, at the end of that event later on in the evening, and just before we started to clean things up, and it was her friends and my other two children, my two young adults, and we all just kind of sat around one of the picnic tables and started talking. I love to be around young people, hearing their perspectives on life, things that are going on in their life, and also to share wisdom, to share my experiences so that it may give them another perspective, something to think about. Not everyone was poured into. Not every parent talks to their kids like I talk to mine and have always. So a lot of things that I say are brand new, or no adult has really ever spoken those words in that way to them. So that's why I think it's important, even, you know, you in your circle, if you know young people, to have those conversations with them about relationships, about, you know, careers, about life. And so I know that I grew up seeing my parents doing that for other adults. And it's just something that I do, something that my husband has always done as well. He's more of a resource person, though, where he will give you that resource. You know, I remember when we started reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and this was years ago, around 2001. And that book was so, you know, dynamic to us. I mean, it had us thinking about the way we look at assets and liabilities. That book propelled us to start doing real estate investment. It was just a really, really good book. And my husband loved it so much, he would purchase copies, multiple copies of it. And when he would go to drive-throughs and such, he would give them to the young people that were at the drive-in window and just be like, listen, even working here, life can be great. Like, here, read this. And it would, you know, I used to always be like, oh my goodness, you're giving away books like that. But, you know, that's who he is and that's what he does. And, you know, I love and appreciate him for that. So, you know, talking to young people comes in many forms. It can be verbal, it can be action, it can be providing that resource. So Saturday night, I found myself having those conversations. And so my son, who's my oldest, he has what's called game nights periodically, and they are a wonderful thing for young people. I'm never invited, no. I always want to be, but they're like, what? No, mom, you can't come. But he has game nights, and he selects different locations in the city and invites people and encourages them to invite friends too, because he recognized that a lot of young people don't have an outlet. They don't have friends. They don't get to know each other. Yeah, you can go to a club, but what type of conversations are you really having? And so with his game nights, they have a variety of games that they can play, but he also has those conversation starter card games that I always loved, and we've always done them, like as a family, just having like a couple of cards with questions and just going around. Could be at a restaurant waiting on our food, whatever, traveling, on vacation, driving, let's ask some questions. So I love that he has taken that on, and that's something that he does, and I think is just going to grow and continue to do well for him. But he had some of the games with him, some of the card games, and so we played one, and I enjoyed it so much. Oh my goodness. I learned so much about what some of the thoughts and things and experiences that the young people that were playing, they had, and their concerns and things of that nature. One of the questions was, what are some important traits that you look for in a partner? And I love it when I can talk about relationships, because I feel like young people are doing relationships different now. I even look at my kids. My youngest is 22, and that's when I met my husband. My center child is 24, and that's when I got engaged. My son is 25, and that's when I got married. And none of them are even close to that. I mean, they date and everything, but they're not dating. I don't think they're a forever person. Maybe not. But, it's just really interesting how times have changed, and options, and just all kinds of things. And even my son was saying, Mom, the difference is from when you were our age to now is that there's all these platforms that people are also dating on. So you could meet somebody in person, the traditional quote unquote way, but you don't know if that person's on another dating app. And even one of the young ladies was saying her dad, her parents got a divorce. Her dad went on dating apps, and on an international one, and is actually engaged to someone that lives in another country, which I think is remarkable. But, it's just like a lot of these different options. And no, we didn't have that. Whoever was in your sphere, that's kind of like where you hung out. It was, if you did date someone that lived in another state, you initially were in the same state with them, and that's how you met. There were no opportunities online or internet or anything like that. So we were talking about the traits that are important in a partner when you are in a relationship. And I want you to ask yourself that too. And as you think about those traits, think about, do you have those traits as well? Because when, everyone was sharing out their responses, that was one of the things I asked. Well, is that something that you exhibit as well? And when they thought about it, in some instances, it was kind of like, sometimes, but it needs to be all the time. Whatever you are seeking, you have to also be able to provide that too. So I know for me, some important traits are definitely integrity, trust, loyalty, love, I want to like and love, and I do. Also, I thought about it, and another one is initiative. A lot of people don't usually say initiative when it comes to a personal relationship, but having initiative is so important, because I think about like when my husband and I were dating, and even now in our relationship, but particularly when we were dating, because I'm looking at myself as a younger person and seeing how the young people are moving today. So when we were dating, he didn't say a lot of the things that he would do for me. It wasn't like he was asking me questions about what I wanted, what I needed. He wasn't promising me anything like, oh, I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to get that for you. No, he took the initiative and would just do it. If he felt that, we were going somewhere and I never ever had to ask my husband for anything when we were dating or even being married. I never had to say, oh, I can you get me, or just, it would just come. He would just get it. He could read that. He understood that. And I love that my son is exactly like that. If I even pause a long time, if my son and I just so happen to be at the store or whatever, if I pause for a long time at something and maybe go back to it and admire it in some kind of way, like, oh, that's so nice, or oh, that's pretty. Next thing I know, next holiday is mine. My son will get it for me, and I think that's so dope. And I know he gets that from his dad. But take an initiative, seeing what that person needs before they ask for it. Don't just talk about it, but be about it. Be a person of little words where your actions are speaking louder than your words. And I'm finding that young people these days, their words are loud and their actions are quiet and small and sometimes non-exist. They're not existing. But it's important in a relationship to take initiative. And if your partner is taking initiative, understanding what you love, what you desire, what you need, things that are going to put that smile on your face and make you happy, well, consider what will make them happy. What will put that smile on their face? What can you do for them in return? And I'm not saying to mimic what they've done for you. Do something that's specific to them, that they need, that they love, because we all have different desires. We all have different things that will put that smile on our face and make us that much happier. And really remember that person when they're not in your presence, because of the initiative that they take and the thoughtfulness that they have with you. And I think that's one of the reasons why people pivot, because trust me, there's so many people out here that's trying to pretend like they, have that thoughtfulness, that they take that initiative, and they'll speak that good talk, but they really don't have that action. And some people, even if they are in a relationship, will fall for that okie doke and go for that and mess up what's in their happy home, because then they'll go over to the other side and recognize that they ain't really full of anything, So that is why at home, nurture your relationships, be true to your relationships, honor them, take initiative, have integrity, be trustworthy, love, let them know that you love. Don't just know it for yourself and not show it or say it, but love. Also like and respect the person that you're with. So I hope that some of these tips are helpful to you. Let me know in the comment section, what are your thoughts around relationships? What's important to you in a relationship? What are the important traits that you and your partner both should have in the relationships that you're in? And if you learned a new trait in this chat that we're having, what is that you're going to try and do more of or implement? All right, that's all I have for you today. It's been my pleasure to speak with you. I'm glad you stopped by. Next time we might have to take a ride somewhere or a walk, right? All right, everyone, have a great day. Remember, practice so hard every day that when you play, you will always play to win. I am Coach Sherry.